Hi,
Hey!
I'm Dr. Tracy.
It's Pasquale. How's it going?
Your voice went down a couple times.
I am being a serious man today.
Okay, so
serious topic.
Today we're talking about pendulums, which this is kind of, I think pendulums have a bad rap. And I think some people get scared of them and like almost see them like Ouija boards.
Yeah, this is the first time I've actually heard this in my life. And I was a kid who played with Ouija boards, just to make that clear.
Well, that's why it's not weird to you.
It's not. But like a pendulum,
I think we all tried it, but I think everybody was like freaked out and everybody, because, it said that you're like communicating with, the devil or some sort of like negative energy or people, some spirit that doesn't want it good for you.
Yeah.
And so it's like a divination.
Divination, totally. It is. I mean, it is. I think it's all based on how you use it, right? Mm-hmm. And we're talking pendulum. We'll talk Ouija board in October. Stay tuned. But because I have some crazy stories, fire and crazy stories.
I bet.
But pendulums. This is a pendulum, so it's just basically a crystal with a chain attached to it. Mm-hmm. And most people, I will tell you, it all depends on who you are. I don't use it in any way for divination. For me, I mostly use it. I use it during a Reiki session, a crystal Reiki session, to help me measure the energy points in the body. Okay. But I know people that will ask it questions and get answers and all that.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's how I started using it, was to ask pretty much yes or no questions. And so just for people out there who want to get started, first of all, does it matter what type of crystal is on it?
I always go, so here's my pick out, and I have actually a great story with this, because when I pick out, because this is like my 6th pendulum, because I break them pretty regularly, just because when you hold them, they drop. I'm clumsy.
Because you're klutzy. Not me.
But one of my favorites is when you're picking out a pendulum, I always tell people, go to the store. Again, somewhere reputable, right?
Yeah.
But go to the store, and what I did and what I was taught to do was the store I went to had a bunch of pendulums hanging, and what the guy had me do is put my hand underneath, and until a pendulum started to move, it wasn't for me. And then as soon as you start to feel the pendulum move, it starts to connect with you.
Oh, wow.
And so that's the pendulum you want to get.
That's great. I love that.
That's how I pick them out, every single one. So I don't base it on the color. I really do base it on, mind you, this one's a crystal healer, but or a golden healer. But that's what I use it for.
Okay. All right. I love that. So the other thing is, when you get it, you want to calibrate it. Is that what they call it? Would you say that? Which is what is a yes? Show me yes. Show me no. Show me an I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know anything about that.
What? Okay.
I
know you're not into. I know you're not.
I don't
really
use it for
pendulums.
divination, so I don't really. Like I said, but I will tell you this. For me, the way I was taught with the pendulum is, two things. Let's kind of go backtrack for a second.
Okay.
So a pendulum is a tool that can be used for divination. Let's just make it super clear on record. It does not connect with the devil.
Not today, Satan.
It does not.
As my t-shirt says.
Does not. It does not connect with evil spirits. It does not.
Okay. So that goes into another question. So I was always taught that you have to protect yourself. I'll say, okay, Lord, please protect me in the white light of your love. And I'll do a quick, I'll ground myself and I'll imagine the white light around me. And then that it was also important to ask for answers only for my highest good, or ask that you want the answers from people who have my best intention at mind. So to make sure you're not getting any answers from anybody that doesn't have your best intention.
Yeah. So here's this is my truth. Right. We all have our own truths. My truth is that by stating that, you're actually welcoming that in. Right? Because what you're saying is, I only want someone who's going to give me something good.
Well, no, not necessarily, because look at you, you think you're all smart. He has that he has that face, that look. Okay, so But I don't agree with that, because a lot of times the things for our highest intention, for our highest good, is usually the path we're not wanting to take, which is why we're already going to something like that
Totally.
for help and answers. Because usually we already know what we need to do, but we need that confirmation to kind of like really push us in that direction.
Totally. And let me rephrase what I was saying. It's not
now
that
you're gonna
part.
change your tune.
No, it's not that part. it's the part where you're said the reason you do that is you don't want that unwanted spirit in.
Okay.
Just by thinking that, that's what you're attracting.
Oh. Okay.
Right?
All right.
Like so from my viewpoint, I only work with loving spirits.
Yeah.
Like it's not even an option, right? Now,
Aww,
I know.
You're welcome.
So just know that if I
I'm
talk
a
to you,
loving
it's because I
spirit.
love you. But no, more importantly, like I will tell you, like, and we're gonna be talking about this in October, right? Like, because it's a big month for this. But let's just be super real. People don't connect with the devil. I'm sorry, no, it's not gonna happen. Mm-hmm. I'm very confident on this. I've been doing this for a very long time. Mm-hmm. I love going to haunted houses. Mm-hmm. Not the ones that Macy's makes up or Acme haunted house. We're talking about houses with like no windows and you walk in and kind of feel it. Mm-hmm. Like, and I haven't come up with that, right? And have I come up with haunted? Yes. But those aren't the spirits that are going to connect with you through a pendulum.
Okay.
Like,
okay, so you don't feel it's necessary. Okay, so
I think it's important for you, especially if you're an empath. Right? If you're someone who naturally absorbs energy, as part of your spiritual practice, I would absolutely put up a shield every day.
Okay.
Like I do it every day.
Yeah.
I do it before every client and every day.
Yeah.
But I do it because I'm protecting my energy.
Right.
I'm not doing it to stop an evil energy to come in.
Okay, so as a happy medium then, if we were to go with what I've been taught and then what you know, would be to what you could do is just ask for that energy of protection and not necessarily bring up who you want these answers to be from.
Yeah, I wouldn't set an expectation.
Like that's enough anyway.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, here's the truth, right? The truth is that we are connected to a higher source, right? Mm-hmm. And that source has to come from a loving energy, right? It's where that energy comes from. And so because of that, whenever we're doing any type of work, connecting through a tool, it has to come from that source because that's who we connect with.
And I do believe that, but see, this is why I wanted to talk about this,
because
because there are so many, there's so much different information out there, and like I said, I think it gives a bad rap.
Yeah.
So, and then people are scared to use them because they don't want to like open themselves up to any sort of negative energy or anything like that. Or like people are even like, talking about portals and like, like they're going to get like sucked into the floor, like the exorcist, like, I don't know.
Which is a very Hollywood thing.
Poltergeist, right, exactly.
And her source was a TV.
Yeah, right.
Which is a quartz crystal.
Yeah.
But no.
Go to the end, the light, Carolyn.
It's one of the best movies ever. I'm not even gonna lie.
Okay, so the other thing is, so does it matter how you hold it or which finger?
So there's a few ways that you can hold it. I bought one that has a little loopy at the end. So I just put my fingers on the little loopy.
Okay.
And I just let it sit.
That's the technical term, little loopy.
Yeah, that's as scientific as I'm gonna get, man. It doesn't. Okay. But
so you're just holding it at the end with your thumb and your forefinger. Okay.
Yeah, and so what I do know is,
does it have to be down? Because I would like some instructions online too, like say like your fingers have to be like down or anything like that.
Mine are typically like this,
down,
straight down, just because it's comfortable. I will tell you, in my Reiki training, I was taught that you hold it like this. So
that's with
through the finger
around your your index finger,
and holding them together so that it's kind of dangling. And so either way works. To be honest, I like it down just because I don't like to touch the string, so that it's an actual energy, right? And the point of the crystal is that it will pick up a vibration, right?
Okay.
So a lot of times, if you're looking for someone, if you go over a map, it should start to move and kind of move towards a map, right? Or if you're going into like an energy center, like a chakra, it'll start to spin the way the chakra is moving, right? So my hand is not moving, but the crystal is. It's moving clockwise, which is telling me that my energy is moving in a good way, right?
Okay.
So that is a good way. The other way is that I have always understood you can ask yes or no questions. And for me, a yes is when the crystal goes into a circle. And a no is when it goes back and forth.
Okay, so I was taught that you have to like calibrate it when you get it and ask it to show you a yes answer and then see where it goes. Because to me, a yes is back and forth, and then forward and back, and then a no is sideways, and then an I don't know is like it'll go in a circle. Oh. And so you want to ask each one, like, okay, show me pendulum, show me a yes answer, show me a no answer, show me an I don't know or a maybe.
Okay.
And then take note of it, and then you can test it by asking questions. Like, my name is Tracy. It should obviously show you a yes. It says, if I say, my name is Diane, it should show me a no. Something like that. Yeah. And you can kind of just test it with just random information.
I don't disagree with that. I think so. My interpretation or my truth of this is that when I learned about the pendulum, I learned in a Reiki class.
Okay.
And in the Reiki class, she defined like what a yes was and what a no was.
Okay.
What a yes is always harmonious energy. A no is stagnant energy, right? If it goes backwards, there's an energy, like there's basically an energy drain, right? Like, or the energy's not.
So that would be more like the no.
Yeah, it would be opposite. It would be more like a versus a no. To me is like a back and forth where it just says that. But my point in saying this is that because that's the way I was taught and told, the way I connect through the crystal, it already knows that that's what I'm looking for, the answer, right?
Okay, so you've already calibrated it then.
Just not knowing that I was calibrating it by being told it. Okay. So that makes sense. Because the one thing I will say is like one of the things that I always instruct people to do is that when you're starting to work with your intuition, one of the best things is to make sure you have a notebook, right?
Yes.
And as you start to see things or hear things or know things, you always want to write down what that kind of like dictionary of things is, right? So if you see a man with a hat and that means grandpa to you, you write that down, right?
Oh, right.
And so that's the way that you connect with your guides on what they're supposed to give you, right? Yeah. And so it creates the kind of that library of information. You basically
I know that from like, Teresa Caputo, the Long Island Medium, which I know you had a whole story on.
I love her.
But I know, I do too. No, but she's always like, when she's giving the reading, she's like, they're showing me a seagull and that's my sign for, like marriage or wedding or something, something like that. Like,
That's what you do. You start to create this library of information. So you created a library by programming it. Because you're saying this is a no, this is a yes. And so in your mind, that library is being added, and so that's where it goes in.
So this is a good question. At least I think so. It's like when I say to my husband, I'm like, I have a great idea, and he's like, well, why don't you let me decide? Why don't you tell me the idea and let me decide if it's so great? Yeah, way to shoot me down. Anyway, so
I'm excited. I can't wait to hear about this.
I know, he's like, okay. And it's like, let's go shark diving.
My pendulum is saying no.
With no cage. Yeah. Okay, so
no.
Yes. Okay, wait, I lost my train of thought. Okay, the question is that energy, okay, so when it's giving you an answer, is that energy coming from the energy within us, like almost our higher selves, like through us, or is it something external moving, the energy moving it? Like I almost sometimes, my visualization is like, like my spirit guide is like standing beside me like, like, or like, ding, like blowing it or moving it.
So my answer is because
sorry,
her spirit guide is grabbing her arm and going, no, and no. So this is how I would answer that, because this is how I view it, right? I think our intuition is always connected to a higher source, right? And that higher source is always kind of guiding us and driving us, right? Along with that, we have the additional aid or enforcement, right? Like reinforcement of angels and guides, right? And I think it's a combination of all of that that helps kind of create those answers, right? So I
Okay.
don't believe you're just getting it from one way.
Okay.
I think it can be from multiple.
Okay.
And I
Fair
think
enough.
you just have to be like,
That's
for
what I
me,
assumed,
it's like,
but I
be
wanted to
open.
ask. Okay.
Right. And one of the best rules is like, you don't necessarily need to know where or how. You just have to believe that it's coming through.
And I always say, like, even if you're just curious about it, try it and see, because there's a lot of skepticism in like a lot of what we do, right? I mean, she's even, as a psychologist, there's skepticism that therapy helps, much less, like crystals and pendulums and angel cards and all that, right?
And medicines and surgeries.
Well, that's true. That's true.
We question everything. And we should.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. So, but now you lost my train of thought.
Try it.
ADHD brain.
It's really good to go out and and you don't have to buy one to try it, right? You can go into a store, find which one you're connecting with, and try it.
Yeah.
It's what I did, right? Like before I even, and really how I was taught this was, I signed up for a Reiki class, Reiki 1, and she was like, don't forget to go to the store and buy a pendulum, or you can get them from me. And I was like, all right, I'll go to the store and buy a pendulum. And then the guy at the store is the one who taught me how to do the hand thing to connect. And then he's the one who kind of was like, now play with it, right? And just kind of see how it works. And I was like, oh,
it is pretty cool when you're doing it, because your hand is not moving. Like you're like, I in the beginning I was like making sure I'm like focused. I'm like, nope, it's not. I'm like making sure it's not moving, and then I'm watching, and then sometimes I have like one eye open and I'm like watching it like swing, and I'm like looking at my hand and then looking down at the crystal, and I'm like going, I am not moving this,
it's total. I mean, it's the thing.
Cool.
You can't.
So even for
fake
like
it.
entertainment value, like try it out and see if it's something that you connect with, even if you're curious about it. Because if you're curious about it, something is drawing you to it. And so I'm always like, explore all of those things with spirituality, because that's where your path, that's where your path is kind of going to spider out and, take you. That's how your journey is.
Yeah. Well, and when it comes to tools, right? Crystals, pendulums, cards, it's really what connects with you.
Right.
And what makes sense for you, right? Like I'm like, I go out and buy things all the time, and I'm always like, this one isn't for me. I'm not feeling connected with it. Yeah. And that's okay.
Right.
But kind of find the thing that you connect with, right?
Where you regift it and give it to your cousin at Christmas.
Yeah. Or give it away.
I bought this especially for you. I saw it and I thought, I'm just kidding. I've never done that.
She's lying.
I have not.
She once gave me a crystal.
Mm-hmm. When did I give you a crystal?
You didn't.
Oh. I'm like, I want it back.
Nope, we don't do that. But I think that trying it is like.
Yeah. So and then to move forward with asking it you want to ask a yes or no question, and try to make it simple. And I was taught you just like, you can close your eyes or not, whichever one you're comfortable with, and then just kind of repeat the question in your mind, and kind of like feel it a little bit, and then get your answer, and then always write it down. I started using a pendulum, man, it's probably like 10 years now or something, and I have notebooks from that long ago when I first started using it about like the answers, because you want to look back. And I was actually, exactly. I was actually looking back, and that stuff was true. It actually came true.
Yeah.
Wait, can I tell you a really creepy story though? So I haven't used it recently. The last time I used it, I was it was like the middle of the night. I couldn't sleep, and I get up and I do my whole protection and this and that, and like I ask my questions, and then I was like, I don't remember the details of what I was asking, but I got like two weird answers, and then I said something like, are you looking out for my highest good? And it said no, and I was like, whoa, and it creeped me out so bad. And then I go, do you love me? And it said no, and I threw the crystal down. And I was like, oh my God, I was so creeped out. It was like when you were a kid and you did the Ouija board, and I put it in the drawer.
I don't know what that's
like. And I haven't used it since. So I do have to, this gives me like so I fed into my own,
Well, but think about it, right?
you know,
If you think about it, in that moment, you were scared.
yeah, it was.
And you were not
totally
in a
freaked out.
space of like calm and peace,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so all it was doing is telling you, no, don't use it, right? Like, no, you're not, like,
Right.
your body wasn't
And
vibrating.
I think too, like now that you're saying that, you can't. I don't think you can be in a place of like where you're desperately wanting answer.
No.
You have to be like in a
Open.
more calm state to let it come through.
Yeah.
Because if you're like desperate and you're like wanting this answer, right now or desperate for it basically. It's not going to work, or it's going to give you like a negative answer, because now what I'm hearing from you is because you're in that negative state.
Your energy is going to always override any of the other
That
energies.
makes a lot of sense, because I think I was like more, because again, I think it was like 3 a.m, can't sleep, stressing over something, at a loss. And I was like turning to like, okay, if I can't find the answer within, you give me this answer right now.
And they're like, no.
And they're like, not today, Satan.
No. And you probably thought, like, I know you probably did think it was like an evil spirit.
Evil spirit, yeah. I totally did.
Something evil.
No, I totally did. It freaked me out.
Which I think is natural.
This was probably like at least like 4 or 5 months ago. I haven't used it. But you know what?
I'm now.
Well, there's so much that happens in a day that I can't keep up.
Remember that with a pendulum, always cleanse, charge, and set the intention, right? Cleanse, charge, and set the intention, because it is a crystal. So
okay.
I would cleanse
Also, I've never done that. Okay.
Yeah, you want to cleanse it because you want it to be yours.
And set the intention to, like, if you're using it the way I like to give
for
me
divination,
to give me guidance.
Yeah.
Okay.
Set the
I like
intention.
that.
Thank you for providing me guidance.
Perfect.
Thank you for letting me know, or providing me, on the chakras, how the energies of the chakras,
Very cool.
But that's super important.
Yeah.
And then if you don't like something it gives you, go clear it. Control Alt Delete. That's what we do on computers.
All right. Thank you guys, and share your experiences. I would love to hear about that, because I don't know. I want to get better at it too.
Yeah.
And so I guess to do that, I got to pick it back up and start using it.
We'll
so
cleanse it tonight.
I will do that.
And I would love to hear experiences, because I didn't know anything about. I didn't even until you said that. What if something evil comes through in this? And I was like,
he looks at me. You should see. Yeah, that look. Wait. Yeah.
And I was like, what?
He looks at me like I'm so either really stupid or really crazy.
No, you're great. She's not either of those. Maybe gullible.
A little bit.
But no, but I didn't think of it. Like, after you said it, I was like, you know what? That is a truth. Like, I can see people being afraid of it for that reason. Just like a Ouija board. Mm-hmm. I get it. It can be scary. They're not, but I get it.
Yeah. Well, again, like you said, they've been sensationalized and stuff.
Yeah,
so.
it's the energy, right? It's what we put into it. So, go cleanse your little pendulums. Go charge them and go crazy and have some fun.
Bye.
Until next time.